I'm sad for Klal Yisrael because the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, everybody got frummer and frummer. The Ger Rebbe told me about 6-7 years ago, he said, ich weiß nicht, was geschehen. I don't know what happened. Amul is geworden frimmer and frimmer. Once upon a time, everybody was getting frummer and frummer. In the 50s and the 60s, we looked like, we were putting things together. We still had, unfortunately, gray hats and blue hats and straw hats, and Baruch Hashem, we got rid of that. And we had colorful yarmulkes and feathers and pearls and stuff like that. We got rid of that. And then we had corduroy pants and we had color. And Baruch Hashem, we moved into the only black and white. And everybody got frummer and frummer, and people never dreamed that their kids would go to kollel. It was like unheard of. Reb Aaron Kotler opened up with 30 guys. And now, Baruch Hashem, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, everybody's going to kollel and everybody's frum. We have the best hashgacha. I mean, this is unbelievable what happened. And we really hoped that our children who are in our homes, and we built beautiful homes, and we kept away all the bad stuff, and we threw out all our TVs in the 80s and the 90s, and we stopped going to movies, and we did everything we're supposed to do. And we hoped that our children should grow up kedusha, tahara, pure, innocent, and that's it. That's what we wanted. It's a beautiful, beautiful dream. And now we're faced with a reality that in almost every family, or in every neighborhood, in every block, there are kids who are Machal Shabbos. There are kids who went off the derech. And people don't know what to do. People don't know what to do. We have a kip here, and she's desperate for connection. And her sister loves her, and they get along great. And her sister is married, and they have kids, and she would love, this kip would go to her sister for Shabbos often. But her sister said, we asked our Das Torah, and they said, our kids shouldn't see Chil Shabbos. Our kids, 7, 8, 9, 10, they shouldn't see it. Even 5-year-olds, they ask questions, they shouldn't see it. So if she's going to be Machal Shabbos, or if she's not going to dress tznius, if she's going to do anything out of the way we raise, it's not good for them to see it. So this kip is Nebuch floating away from Klal Yisrael under doctor's orders, under her Rav's advice. Another kid said to her parents who are here, I can't have my sister come over to my house. I don't want my kids to see that she wears red nail polish. Now, some people laugh and it sounds silly, but to her, she was very serious. I don't want my kids to know, the Chassidish kids, they shouldn't know that it's an option. It's not good. You start putting into their mind that there's options, that you can dress like mommy, or you can dress like whatever and have red nail. And in a way, she said red nail polish is even worse than Chilul Shabbos. That was her mindset. Why? Chilul Shabbos they're not going to do, but red nail polish, maybe they're going to, all of a sudden, they're going to say, I want to have red nail polish, and I don't want them to have red nail polish. I don't want them to see my brother who comes with his motorcycle for Shabbos, and my kids are out the window looking at them, and they're going to say, ooh, I want to have a motorcycle on Shabbos. I want to have a motorcycle when I grow up. I want to look cool like them. It's a serious problem for the siblings, for the cousins, for your other grandchildren, for the neighbors' kids, whole Klal Yisrael. So we had the first 20 years ago when this happened, 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, we were able to push them away and have this like fake world where our kids shouldn't see it. But now you can't do that anymore. The kids you have to be mechanech the kids now. They go in the bus, in the school bus, they look outside and they ask their friends, is that your brother or your sister? Why does he have long hair? It looks like your sister. Is that your sister? It looks like your housekeeper. And they start making fun, and they're asking questions, and they don't know, and everybody's scared. Kiknish, don't look. And it used to be that you could maybe avoid it, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. So don't invite your brother over with his kids for Shabbos, and don't invite your sister over, and your parents can have their kids come over, and there's all of this tremendous anxiety and fear that seems 100% real and logical. Why would anybody raising a frum family want their kids to see Chil Shabbos? what's going to happen to them? They're going to say, hey, there's an option. I was going through the system, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 50, 60, 90. There's no option. I have to be from. And now all of a sudden they're going to see there's an option. Maybe they're going to decide they also want to be Mechal Shabbos. Or maybe they're just going to get weak. You think you could see Chil Shabbos and stay just as strong? It's going to affect them. They're going to say, why do we have to eat Chalav Yisrael when he's eating treif? Why can't I eat Chalav Stam at least? Everybody's going to get weak. That the kids growing up are going to get weak if they see and they're connected to those who are Mechal Shabbos. And it's becoming a big problem. And it's stopping people from inviting over families. And it's a big problem. It's a really big problem. But here's the thing. The thing is that 15 years ago, I opened Home Sweet Home. And I raised my kids in my house from 4 years old, bringing in Mechalei Shabbos into my house on a steady basis, not just Shabbos. They were always there. Pesach by my Seder. I had my kids and my kids, these kids, those kids, our kids. Chalamite trips. I had pictures of my... They really knew them. They grew up with them. There were constantly new kids. Every few months, another kid moved into my house. My kids, I started from 4 years old raising them this way. 4, 5, 6, 7, all the years, they were raised with constantly seeing Chil Shabbos. And I didn't have even one tiny doubt that they would lose out because of it. If you're frum, and you're happy, and you have a normal house, and you're doing well in yeshiva, and you don't have trauma or any problems, why would you want to go off the derech? A little bit, maybe when you're 6.5 years old, you'll say, "Ooh, this guy looks cool." Okay, that's not going to make you eat shreif and go off the derech. I didn't have a havamina. So you could say, well, it wasn't a sibling, it wasn't a cousin. Everybody could say why it's different. This was a lot worse because every few months was another kid and another kid and another kid that's less stable than your sister or your cousin that you know and you have a relationship with. It was kids that I did not have a relationship until they moved in and I got to know them. It was strangers. It was a lot of Chil Shabbos. My kids used to say, how come these guys walk out by the Shabbos meal after every course? How come they go for a walk? So I said, they're very health conscious. They like to go for a walk in between courses. And then at some point, they open up the window shade or look down the block and they said, Chaim smoking on Shabbos. I said, yes, Shefala. They're not frum. And we are. And you know what Hashem wants us to do? Be makar of them. Psh, simple. We're lucky, we're fortunate enough that we have something amazing. They never don't have it. I feel so bad for them. But we're not going to be marachik them and reject them. And we're not going to be upset at them. We're going to be nice to them. And I never thought they're going to be frum, by the way. When I opened Home Sweet Home, I just wanted to be nice to them. Give them food, get them jobs, get them off drugs. Because isn't that what we're here for? To help people? It's not contagious. So it's the kind of situation where the more you fear it, then it becomes a real thing. Oh, careful, you're going to see, they're going to see. I had no fear of it. And if you don't fear it, it doesn't do anything to you. If you don't fear it, listen, I can't tell you 100% of the world is going to have, the same outcome. Of course, it's the Ata D'Shmaya. Of course. But this is my story. Ad Kedei Kach, that before Rosh Hashanah, a couple of years ago, it was Friday night, Gesundheit. It was Friday night, and I told my kids, I had a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old, Gesundheit, and I said, guys, we need schusim before Rosh Hashanah. After the meal Friday night, instead of going to sleep or whatever, we went out to the park looking for the Mechalei Shabbos. We need schusim. Unfortunately, in our dart, there's so much opportunity for schusim. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parashas Truma says there's nothing more bigger, better that you can do for Hashem than to run after those who fell away from the crown and to try to be mishtadel to bring them back with love. Why are we so foolish? We're going to get paid big time for that. So I took my kids looking for them. Everybody's worried. They shouldn't see. Come, guys, let's go. And we went to the park, and there were Mechalei Shabbos there, smoking cigarettes. And I sat with them, and I introduced myself, and I introduced my kids to them. My kids didn't look at them and say, oh, wow, I want their life. From far, they kind of look out of the bus window and they say, oh, imagine not having to wear a yarmulke and not say brachas. Imagine not having to go to school. Imagine not having to study. It looks glamorous. But when you're actually close in, they're not glamorous. They're pathetic. They're hurting. They're dysfunctional. And all of them, by the way, want to be like us. When they get healthy, all of the Home Sweet Home kids who had a family to go back to, which was most of them, are from today. Those same kids. So even if they would have looked up to them, so a couple of years later they would look up to them, so that when they become from, they'll make them starker. My kids got stronger because of this experience. We're living in a real world. You can't live in a ghetto with girls starving outside, and my sons shouldn't see this, and we shouldn't see starving people, and we should see a perfect world. We built this beautiful little bubble, but the world is crumbling around us, and people are dying. So now is not the time to say, I don't want my kid to see, I don't want my kid to see. First of all, like I said, to me, and I'm pretty sure that if you ask all of the chevra working with the kids, all of the angels on the street, we're not scared of them. They're not scary. They're not going to pull our kids down. If you fight with them and you say, kick me, you look away, they'll bite your head off. But if you're nice to them, they're sweet, sensitive neshamalach. They're like little puppies. They're the nicest kids. What are you scared of? You don't want your daughter to know that it's shaykh to be natznius? That's how weak your chinuch is. You tell your daughter, some people choose not to be frum. And I'm going to explain to you why we choose to be frum. Chinuch. And if they're happy and they're stable, they're always going to choose to be frum. That's it. They're not going to want red nail polish. Why do you think that they're going to want to look like their cousin and not like their mommy? If you're her best friend and you're her role model, you're the mommy, and she has older sisters, no. She's not going to look like anybody from the last 400 years, from all the grandparents and all the aunts and uncles. She's going to want to look like her dysfunctional cousin, right, who dresses whatever and is going through a hard time and is suicidal and on drugs. That's going to become a role model? Well, why? Don't be scared of it. Say, yeah. And you should know, the kids who came to Home Sweet Home, they looked very cool. And my kids were growing up, they were like, whoa, necklace, whoa. I have a bag of all those necklaces now. It's not going to be right away. It's not going to be the first day that they're going to say, feh, look at them. They're going to say, oh, this is very interesting. And they talked about movies. And my Shabbos table, my kids grew up with, you know what happened on my Shabbos table? Rabbeinu Shalom. Really? There were words that were said at my Shabbos table that are not found in any siddur in the world. Because we didn't have a regular Shabbos table. We were a factory to save Jews. We were Schindler's List. We were saving neshamas. And that's much more important than saying Baruch Hashem Yaim and Baruch Hillel Yaim. Hashem wants you to save families. If every one of you would go out on the street and invite 2, 3, 4 of these neshamas Friday night for a meal, who cares that you can't sing Yaim Zemachubad? You understand that almost all of our Home Sweet Home kids today are frum. They're getting married. They have children. We have ENCLYCLOPEDIC already from them. Dairis we were saving, and we sacrificed that the kids didn't grow up. Yeah, they grew up in a kiruv home. Yeah, and I had to really work on my kids to love Yiddishkeit. It's like some people, they don't want their kids to see that there's an alternative. Why? Because they don't want to have to really make their kids believe in Hashem. They don't want to really make their kids love Yiddishkeit. We have the real thing. Make them love it. Have fun with them. Nothing's going to be more powerful than having great parents who love you and they love Yiddishkeit and davening is beautiful. Okay, if they have their own struggle, learning disability or trauma or something that they go through personally, it's a different story. And by the way, The best thing for those kids who are hurting is to see that my parents are accepting and non-judgmental, and they're not going to throw me out. Because even if they go through nebuch, their spiral and their pain, they'll come back much, much, much faster. By knowing that my parents are loving, good people. They're not going to hate you and hate your Yiddishkeit and your negativity and your judgment. It's a whole different spiral, and they don't go down so fast and so low. They go like this, and then they can come back up. ל-KiDs. We know that because we have so many other kids that ended up struggling, but because the parents were already trained for another kid, that instead of getting the whole drugs and the craziness and the whatever and the violence and the jail, nothing, nice and quiet, dysfunction, trouble, whatever, get help and come back. There's so many kids today from TP families and other people who follow this that you're not even going to hear about them. They're going to be a difficult life for a year or two or three, and then you're going to see they're going to come back and they're going to be from without all of the big violence and drugs and craziness, because the parents are understanding them and seeing their pain. So everybody's going to win. It's not a haftach. I'm just telling you my own personal experience. So everybody's so scared. Reb Shlomo Miller, who's the Paisek Hadar, one of the Paisek Hadar of Toronto, of Canada, of Lakewood, he came here to our group and he told us, it's on camera, he said, when I grew up, half my family wasn't from. They drove on Rosh Hashanah, they drove on Shabbos. Nobody was angry at them. Nobody said, don't look at them. You know, we were so used to, in the 50s, by the Aguda convention, women wore shetels. They said, if you're not sneeze, you can't come. What did Klal Yisrael look like? And the Frumer got stronger. We don't have to be scared that our children should see. What do you think is going to happen? If your Yiddishkeit, your chinuch is schwach, is weak, and you're not really doing it the right way, and they're in an atmosphere where they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel liked, they don't feel loved, then you have to put up walls. They shouldn't see that there's an option. You hope to God and you pray that they're not going to jump out. Good luck. But if you have a beautiful, rich religion that brings happiness to your family, and that everybody loves each other, and it's a beautiful, davening is beautiful, and life is beautiful, and you have a great relationship with your mother and your father, and everything is good, and you're not abused, and you don't go through anything, you could see your sister, your brother, your nephew, your niece, your cousin, your neighbor, you could see it all around you, and you're not going to want to be like them. And you'll see a few years later how they come back. We have to teach our kids that the strong have to take care of the weak. Instead, we're actually not being mechanech them by covering their eyes. They shouldn't see anything. We're not making them strong. We have to make them strong and teach them what Yiddishkeit is. In our dar, where we have more and more kids, more and more percentage that is falling away, the strong have to care for the weak. The frum have to be makarev and invite in and bring them into your house. It's not contagious. They're not dangerous. And by doing that, you fortify your kids. I think, Be'ezus Hashem, I'm saying Siyata D'Shmai, of course, I don't take credit for it, but my kids became so frum and really, they love Yiddishkeit because they always felt, we have it, and we're going to help them come back, and we're going to, even not for Yiddishkeit, we're going to help someone have a meal. We're going to invite them in for Shabbos without an agenda. And the fact that almost all of them became frum, or even the ones that didn't, that we were nice to them. We're the good guys. Teach your kids, we're the good guys. We're the ones who have. And the haves are going to take care of the have-nots. And that's what Yiddishkeit is. Instead of kicknish, leifnish, can't look, can't this, oh, no, don't go there. Well, eventually they're going to see it. You're going to say, why does cousin Ruchi have red nail polish? And why does her skirt look like she's wearing her younger sister's skirt? And why does Chaim, our cousin or our neighbor, have a doggy? Yeah, they're going to see. You have to get real with them. Some kids today have doggies. We don't. Dogs and Jews don't get along so well. We're not big into dogs. And the shyless, and it's not really our way, but they have it. So what? Across from me, I have a Syrian neighbor. The kids are not frum. They ride their bikes on Shabbos, and sometimes a car goes in or out, and they have a little dog. first of all, you know what? You can't stop your kids from seeing that. What should I do? Move to Meir Sharim? I should move to another neighborhood? You can't stop it anyway. But I wouldn't move even if you wanted me to, because they didn't lose anything by knowing that some people are not from. So what? Some people are not yeshivish. I said it. Some people are not Hasidish. And some people are not from. Why is that a trauma for a child 5, 6, 7, 8? It's so simple. I get calls all the time. What should I tell my son? He's 5 years old. He keeps on saying, why does Chaim not wear a yarmulke? Some of these 5-year-olds are like mashkichim. It's great. It's beautiful. I said, you have no choice. You have to really be mechanachim. You have to say, come here, Shimi. Let me teach you about the world. When you're older, everybody makes their choices. Some people go through hard times and they don't wear a yarmulke. But we're going to wear a yarmulke. And Hashem is proud of you. They're not going to lose anything. If you don't address it, you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're thinking. But if you address it clearly and you explain to them, you mechanech them, you can make them strong. We make Hashem proud. And they also will one day. But you know what Hashem wants from us? To save them. By being nice to them, by running to them with love. That's what the Zohar HaKadosh says. Why can't we rely on that? They asked Rav Steinman, what should we tell the kids when they see about their brother? And I don't see why it would be different if it's a cousin. That's up to you to decide, but I think it's anybody. It's pashut, it works. What should we tell them? And he said, it was printed up. 3 things, very simple. The first thing is you say, listen, unfortunately, Malki, she's not from, and it's terrible. She's not keeping Shabbos, and she doesn't do the right thing. In other words, you should say what they're doing is wrong. That's okay. You say that's wrong. Don't confuse the kid. Malki's not from anymore. She drives in Shabbos. Number 2. But you know what Hashem wants from us? Hashem wants us to be mekarev her with love. I forgot what number 3 was. I have it written down. It's part of the presentation. But it was very simple. She's doing the wrong thing. That's wrong. We're not allowed to do that. And what does Hashem want? Not to yell at her. Not to scream at her. Not to reject her. Not to give her musr. But to make her feel so comfortable. That's what he said. So comfortable that she should be the most comfortable in our home. And to be mekarev her. Very simple. A 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old can understand that. You know why? It's emes. It's the simple truth. That's what Hashem wants from you. Not to look down at the sinners. Not to scream shaygitz, goite, shiksa, rachmana litzlan. No, it's not what Hashem wants. We have to bake this into our kids so they can digest it and they can go out and they can go be makarev. This is the next dar. They're all going to be seeing kids in their class go off the derech. They're all going to be seeing to the right and to the left. Who knows what's coming? We have to make them strong. We have a mission. We have to be makarev. When you see somebody that you can grab, imagine physically that they're in the ocean and they're drowning. What would you do? You'd throw a rope. Same thing spiritually. When you see somebody in your class, somebody in your block, somebody in your mishpacha that's drowning spiritually or emotionally, throw them a rope. Connect to them. Pull them out. Be there for them. That's what we're all about. When you have that hashkafa, it doesn't become a dangerous thing. Unfortunately, this is what we need to teach the rest of the world.